Hello friends, Mali Ponfadith here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of the SOAR Community Nebula. Our goal this year is to feature 1,000 champions of change and community builders. And today we have Joshua with us, Prince Joshua, and you can share more in a second here. And I'd be delighted to have you share with our community where you're coming from in the world, what your full name is, and the work that you are doing to create more powerful leaders in this global environment.
All right, so my full name is Prince Joshua Oyeniyi. Oyeniyi simply means royalty has honor. So it's a word from the Yoruba language of a Western African country known as Nigeria. So I'm from Nigeria. I'm based in Lagos, and I run a social enterprise known as Amborium Media Global. And we have two arms of Amborium Media. One of them is the Ambassadors Radio Show, and the other is the Ambassadors Summit. And so in 2013, October 6th precisely, I started a radio show in Lagos to be able to reach out to young people, to inspire them with the stories of successful Nigerians and non-Nigerians alike. And that metamorphosed into a social enterprise because I launched into it without any intention to make any money. And then a year after, we started an event known as the Ambassador Summit, which is an annual event where people are inspired by successful entrepreneurs, career people, political leaders. And in the last 5 years, we have been consistent having this event. And it's been amazing. We've gone on to win several awards, within the country, within the continent, and on the global level, including the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards that we won in 2015, where I represented Nigeria here in the United States.
That's really beautiful. So today you're dialing in from where?
All right, so today I'm in New York. I came in again this time around to speak at a few events in the United States. I was invited. And so I've spoken in Washington, D.C., I've spoken in Maryland, and now I'm speaking this weekend in New York, in Brooklyn. Basically, my message is on leadership, entrepreneurship, and then inspiration. Where we have a mix of all three of these things, and people can be able to take on challenges that they find in their community and transform them into life-saving, techniques, for other people and for generations coming behind them. And that's my message. That's what I've been doing. It's been amazing. I mean, quite frankly, though challenging, because those of us in the social enterprise, world can at times be struggling with quite a number of things. But you're just being able to find the balance between how you're getting sustained and then your passion for what you're doing. So it's from New York this morning, and I'm happy to be connected with you, Mali, and thank you for having me on the platform.
You're so welcome. Well, as we talk to all of these champions of change from around the world, what we like to ask them is to also have them share their personal journey of how in their lives they've been impacted by other community builders, change agents, mentors who've shown them some compassion, love, support, and perhaps even some of the most unexpected ways. So can you share some examples or ideas of other human beings that have supported you and guided you?
Okay, so one of the very first people that played a pivotal role in my development is an American here. He's known as Dr. Willie Jolly. He's a member of the National Speakers Association, and I don't know, I'm not sure whether he was once the president of the NSC as well. But Willie Jolly had been invited to Nigeria for the first time in 2013, February 23rd, if not to be precise. He had come in to speak to college students at the University of Lagos, where I was studying, and then at the University of Ibadan as well, somewhere in the southwestern part of the country as well. And the room was full with about 2,300 people. And so Willie had finished speaking, and then we had opportunity to ask questions. Only three of us were lucky enough to get selected to ask questions, and I got got lucky as well. Got on the stage, asked a question that Willie was so excited about, and then decided to adopt me as a mentee, as a protege in front of the 2,300 people. So it was an amazing opportunity for me to go from zero, from nothing, from disadvantaged background, from poverty, and just name all the disadvantages you can classify with a third world developing nation, that's Nigeria. Into doing what I'm doing now on the global stage and getting invitations, to places I never dreamed of or imagined I would be able to reach in my life. When I remember, those days when I watch American movies, I see New York, I see NYPD, I see all of those people, and I'm like, wow, so there are places like this. But just yesterday I took a tour around the city of New York, and well, this is the same NYPD that I used to watch in movies. So mentorship played a key role for me. The correspondences I had with Willie Jolly, over emails for 1 year, translated into winning, the global award in Nigeria and then in the United States. And I got back, won continental awards, won awards from the Royal World Common Society in the United Kingdom, and several other things. Doing events, being attended by thousands of people over the last 5 years. Streaming our events to people and audiences in over 80 countries. Just because somebody decided. So Willie Jolly was part of the story, and also I've been a part of the story. And then about other people as well, spiritual leaders. My pastor, Pastor William Folorunsho Shokomoyi, is the general superintendent of the Deeper Christian Life Ministries, present in about 60 countries of the world. People like, Iya Deboye, who is the general overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, and other people, with numerous names to mention. So people have played pivotal role in my life, helping me to discover myself, helping me to have a thirst for knowledge, to have, a desire to be better than, the way I was yesterday, and then most importantly, to give back to a community, to give back to people without necessarily expecting them to do anything for you. So it's just been about giving and investing in people, and that's been my life. So most times what I'm doing, I to a large extent de-emphasize the monetary aspect of it. I wouldn't mind if I have the funds and resources, to give and keep giving. I want to do so, but because of the problems of sustainability, how do you keep doing what you're doing if you don't find a way to get the funds? So it gives me some time to think and then re-strategize. But it's been amazing, doing what I'm doing, and then meeting you again. You're now a pool of the resource persons that I know. I mean, you, Mali. So meeting you and a few other persons at the African Leadership Conference. Just about 10 days ago, as is, it's added to my, to my base of knowledgeable persons who I can be able to interact with to build the work I'm doing. So.
Thank you so much for that. And I also want to commend you because you made a great point. You raised your hand, asked a question, and it started it all. So it also is a two-way street.
And okay, sorry for having to interrupt you, but having to raise my hand was one of the most difficult things I've ever done because, my personality, it took me a while to get to understand the kind of person that I was. Especially, it was until I had to read the book by Tim LaHaye, Why You Act the Way You Do, that I understood, the strengths and the weaknesses of my personality type. So I'm a phlegmatic person, and with some form of choleric, traits as well. But largely, I'm a very conservative person, very reserved, very quiet. So I go to a conference, I just sit somewhere, listen to everything everyone is saying, get as much as I can. But I never, want to be a part of the happening people or the happening things. So, luckily for me, I had my sibling sister who was seated by my side. I'd invited her to the event, and then so she saw that I was eager to ask the question, but I just felt, no, 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 the room is too crowded, so let's just sit down. She was like, oh, brother, ask a question. Come on, raise your hand. Come on, raise your hand. So she pushed me literally to raise my hand. So it was one of the biggest. So I tell people, I said, not until you step out of the comfort zone, you cannot have the spectacular happen for you. You need to give yourself some level of discomfort to be able to take the next level. So for me, that's phenomenal.
Wow. I feel like we can stop the interview now. I think you just gave us everything we needed.
Thank you.
The next question I have is, when you think of those champions of change and community
Mm.
builders in your life that you've witnessed, what are some of the consistent attributes that you've seen or that you've witnessed over time?
One of them is a commitment to excellence. They always want to get things right, get it done to the best of their ability, and so even they want to beat acceptable standards. So that's something that drives me. One, commitment to excellence. Two, commitment to knowledge building. The people I know read a lot of books, attend lots of conferences, events, seminars, forums, trainings all over the place. They just committed to building themselves, knowing more than they've known, and applying what they have known. So that is very key for me. And then another thing is, they also passionate about investing in people. And so you see them, apart from learning, building themselves, they are transferring, the knowledge to people who don't have the abilities or the resources or the finances to be able to attend the trainings and the forums that they, can attend. So they go back and give. It's just like for me now, the opportunity that I have to come here to the US and attend conferences and attend events and know new things, is what I will go back to Nigeria and organize events and teach people these things for free. So it's that for me is what I've been able to see about some of these change agents that I have around me, and it's amazing. It's amazing how committed they are to these things over the last 10, 15, 20, 30, and even 40 years. They are doing this work, and I just hope that I can be able to achieve 50% of the things that they've achieved in their life so far.
Mm. How are you supporting and advancing other causes to use your gifts, to share your talents, to share your life experiences? Are there any specific causes, movements, grassroots initiatives that you'd like to highlight and feature that you're supporting right now?
Okay, so one of the ways I'm doing that, I told you of a radio show that I started. It's a partnership that I had with the University of Lagos in Nigeria. They gave us a platform for like 4 or 5 years to be able to reach out to people and do that without having to bother about paying for the cost of airtime. That's one of the biggest things, I have been given in my entire life. And then, I started an organization, a personal organization this time around called the Joshua Oyeniyi organization, which is basically to be able to reach out to underprivileged high school students in Nigeria. The project, kickstarted, recently. My goal is to be able to reach 10,000 high school students. Now, high school students, or public high school students to be precise, public high school students in Nigeria are, they are seen as the disadvantaged of the society, because public schools in Nigeria are, in a very dilapidated state, very pitiable state. Things are very sorry back at home. So I decided to focus my attention on them, and one of the ways I did that was to write a book. So in 2016, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and selected me courtesy of the Barack Obama program known as the Young African Leaders Initiative, to go on a course, 5 weeks course outside the country. So while I was abroad, I had enough time in my hands in the hotel, and I decided to write a book as a way to contribute back to society. So I wrote this book, called From Night to Light, how I went from local to global, and how you too can. And the first day I launched it, we had over 1,200 copies paid for instantly, and for me that was phenomenal. My first book, in less than 10 minutes of launching it, over 1,200 copies paid for by people, by donors, by supporters, by partners who just wanted to reach out to people with this. you know so that's what I've been doing. So I've been giving this book away for free to some people who I know cannot afford it. And so when I sell some, I use that money to produce others and then give to people who cannot afford it. So that's what I've been doing. And when I'm back to Nigeria, I'm going to continue doing that. I want to hit the 10,000 person mark, who I believe this book will be able to transform, give them hope and inspiration, to go achieve their dreams.
Thank you for doing that. When you are out on the road and giving inspiration and hope to other people, when things have been challenging for you and you've been down, what are perhaps maybe it's a scripture, maybe it's a quote or a philosophy or a motto, what can you share with our community that helps you regroup, recenter, and move forward?
Thank you very much for that question. You see, not many people get to ask me that question. And, at times, I remember I used to tell my wife back in Nigeria, I'm married anyway with a beautiful daughter who is just 1 year.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So I used to tell her, I said, do people even ask the question, who encourages the encouragers? Who inspires the inspirers? Who motivates the motivators? Who or what? People don't get to ask you. They see you doing awesome things. They just assume that you have a super machine on the inside of you that just propels you. Nobody cares to know how you're getting along. How do you cope with challenges? So that's why I said your question is very brilliant. It's thoughtful. I face challenges from time to time. Right now I have a number of them on my hands. But basically, what keeps me going is this. I tell myself that compared to where I'm coming from, looking at my life now and then where I was 7 years ago, 10 years ago, can I say that I'm much better than where I started? Oh yes. Can I say I've made significant progress and improvement? Oh yes. If I could get this far from where I'm coming from, despite the challenges I felt were the end of the world for me, then definitely there is a better future ahead. So, I mean, this is just like, for me, it's a phase. So, what I'm doing now and the challenges I'm going through now are just, they're just stepping stones to the next level that I'm going to get to. That's one. Then two, um, I'm a Christian, and as a Christian, I take my so-called, my hope, my inspiration from the Bible. And there's the scripture in Isaiah 41 verse 10, where God, was asking and telling His children not to be afraid, not to be discouraged, not to be dismayed. So that is for me a very significant source of hope. And then there's another part of the scriptures, the Holy Bible, Romans chapter 8, verse 37, that says, nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors. So whether there are challenges, whether there's a setback in my business, whether there's a setback, in my social work, or personal challenges, or even health, I know sometimes last year, suddenly I just had some form of health challenge. I was having very excruciating pain in my chest, and it was looking like the end at home. For the very first time in my life, I would be rushed to the hospital in an emergency form. I never got to go to the hospital. For the last 20, 30 years of my life, very limited times have I ever visited hospital. But that day, they had to call the ambulance to come and pick me from the house to the government hospital. And when I got there, 1 hour, seeing what people were going through, excruciating pain. This one is crying, that one is crying. I just in my heart told myself, this is not where I belong. God, you're gonna save me, you're gonna deliver me until I fulfill my destiny. So, for me, my spiritual life is very key, in overcoming the challenges of life that I go through. And thankfully enough as well, I have, a very strong mother who also encourages me, who knows when things are going very tough, and then calls me and prays for me and tells me to keep believing in myself, with the support of my amazing wife and other friends around. I get to have the strength to be able to push on, and then people don't even get to know what goes on behind the scene. They just see that this young man is firing, is vibrant, but nobody sees what goes on, what happens behind the curtain. So that's how I get going. That's how I keep myself on the road.
Mm. When you imagine a better world, Prince Joshua,
Mm, mm.
what does it look like through your eyes?
First, it is a world with little or no poverty, where everyone can be able to access the basic needs of life, without having to do illegal things or having to pay too dearly for it. And, I'm speaking on behalf of third world nations and other parts of the world where there is a high level of, economic inequality. And, so I see a world and I imagine and I envision a world where poverty is reduced to the barest minimum. I look at a world where people are at peace with one another, whether he's an American and that one is an Asian and that one is a Nigerian or an African, where there is little or no discrimination on the basis of race or nationality or skin color and all that. So these are the challenges that I want our world to overcome and emerge from, to be a united force of people who believe in the commonality of human beings across countries and nations and continents and economic status. And so that's what I look out for, and I know that it's a possibility. And like Martin Luther King said, I have a dream, and that dream I believe will materialize someday, sometime.
One last question for you. If you could give 1 or 2 points where our community can support you, what 1 or 2 things can we do to help advance your mission, your purpose, and your cause today?
Thank you very much. You've been so nice already. You've had conversations with me before now, having helping to look at what I'm doing and how we can, scale it up to something much more valuable to both me and the people who are benefiting from my platform. And I want to thank you for that. And then, I don't have much to ask for. What I want the community to do for my people, for the people who look up to me, who look up to me as a leader, is to be able to provide them a level playing ground and platform like what you have already. At with very with a high level of consideration for their economic status as well, so that they can be able to have platforms to learn from other people from places of the world where opportunities are more equitable, and then be able to improve their status, their lot. So if you ask me, it's to say get as many people as we have back in Nigeria who are members of my organization, who are participants of my event, to be a part of the Nebula community, to be able to learn from you, to be able to network with people, to be able to get resources, knowledge resources, opportunities, and avenues to build themselves, to grow themselves, and to fulfill their dreams, even while they're back there in Nigeria. So that is what I would ask for, and if that is done for me, I'll be super grateful.
Prince Joshua Oyeniyi. Thank,
Yeah,
thank you for your time today.
it's a pleasure.
Thank you for the work that you're doing in the world. We value you, we value who you are as a human being, and we value you as a leader for your community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful, and I hope to talk with you, sometime soon again.
Yes, we will. For those that are watching, thank you so much for being a part of our community, for following us, and today now for meeting Joshua. Please do remember to nominate yourself and someone in your community who's making a huge difference in your world. Visit us at nebula.soarcommunitynetwork.com. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.